Hey everyone, welcome to Find Your Flow. I'm Natalie, and today we have a gorgeous practice to open the mind and the heart space. So connect to the subtle energy of the body, tap into your spirit, and also find a lot more space around this front chain of the body. So hop into your super comfy clothes and I'll meet you on the mat. Down to the ground whenever you're ready, finding a comfortable seat, taking the support under the hips and closing the eyes, snuggling into this space as we find length through our spine, and keep the heart space particularly aware during our practice today. So really notice that we're finding the space here, sending lots of love to this area internally and externally. So noticing how we feel and checking in as we breathe softly in and out. Notice how the muscles, joints, ligaments, bones feel, as well as emotionally, mentally. How are you today? Simply take this time to check in. And we are going to be flowing quite swiftly through our practice, energizing the body, waking up any dark spaces, any tightness or tension. And so can we do this in a way that sends so much support to ourselves still? Finding this deep connection to our breath and taking it with us as we flow. Being open to our practice. Nice, and taking a lovely smile, curling up the corners of the mouth. And finding 3 more breaths here. Whenever you finish, bring the palms together at the heart. Softly open the eyes as we send the fingertips down towards the ground like a dagger. Then open the palms, send them back behind us like airplane wings, lifting our heart. Reach the hands for the sky, gazing up if we can. Hands come down and all the way back to the heart twice more. We can close our eyes if we feel comfortable doing this. Fingertips down. Opening back, lifting and rising, finding space. Thumbs trace down back to the heart once more. Gorgeous. Keeping the hands at the heart when you return back as we twist over to the right side. So keeping our thumbs towards the center of our chest area as we explore this rotation through our rib cage, taking 1 breath in and out, floating through center over to the left, finding this honest natural range of motion, range of movement, and then floating back to center over to the other side, mindful of keeping the shoulders from beneath the ears. And from here, taking the left hand to the outer right thigh, right hand swims behind us, fingertips to the earth. We rise into our twist for 1 breath. Exhaling, twist a little further. And then floating the hands back to the heart, coming to center and over to the left. Nice. Staying here for 1 breath first, palms float together. And then sending the right hand to the outer left thigh, left hand all the way behind, reaching tall as we inhale, exhale. And then float the palms back together as we come to center and release. Bringing the right leg in front of the left. And then instead of crossing at the ankles now, one leg is in front of the other, and we're bringing our shins down towards the ground. Don't worry if they don't touch. Fingertips to the earth as we slowly walk forwards. Keeping this length and integrity in the spine, hips rooted down. And then coming all the way back, hands come behind us, palms come to the earth. As we root the shins down even more, option to lift our hips away from the ground and towards the sky. Finding this openness through the front chain of our body, gazing back slightly if that feels good, and releasing. Nice. Bringing the opposite leg in front this time, and coming forwards. Taking a breath in, and as you breathe out, float back. Hands come behind you, root down through the shins as we lift the hips. Also finding some space in the shoulders here, in the thoracic spine. Lifting the heart and releasing. Gorgeous. Coming to lift off your props, if you had any, to bring the feet to the ground. Reach the arms out in front. And just really slowly curl the chin towards the chest and imagine we're moving in slow-mo, super, super slow-mo. Can we send our lower back, mid-back, and then eventually the upper back down onto the ground? Just waking up our center. If we need to use the arms to help us down there, then do so. Lovely. And when we get to the earth, we'll plant the feet underneath the knee space, hands down by our sides. Floating the tailbone off, lifting the lower back, mid-back, upper back, hips reach high, and then softening, just rolling through the spine. 2 more times, really imagining each part of our back body peeling off the ground one by one, and then releasing back down. Gorgeous. Are we breathing here? Once more, rooting down to rise up. Gorgeous. Everybody lifting the feet off the ground. Bring the shins parallel to the sky, interlacing the hands behind the back of the head. Inhaling. As we exhale, lifting our head, neck and shoulders off the ground. And then releasing. Nice. Moving with your breath. We lift up, connect to our center. And release down once more. And this time staying here. Option to reach the arms forward. And taking a breath in and a breath out. Option to send the right toes down, left arm back. And then lift up, left toes down, right arm back. Keeping the neck nice and long. Moving from side to side. Keeping the lower back down onto the ground. If we feel the lower back arching off, can we hug the knees in a little bit closer and keep this nice bend in the knees. 1 more time to each side. Lovely. And floating back, releasing, hugging the knees towards you and just rocking left to right before planting the feet back down on the ground. Reaching the arms forward as we curl the chin towards the chest and start to rise all the way back up again. Use the hands if you want to for support. Scooting the legs to one side. We'll jump into a tabletop all fours. Wrists beneath the shoulders, knees beneath the hips. Find a nice wide sturdy stance. Spreading through the fingers, rooting through the tops of the feet. Then curling the tailbone down, we'll arch our spine towards the sky like an angry cat. Taking a breath in and out, lifting the tailbone the opposite way, tummy floats down. Keep pressing through the palms as we lift our gaze slightly forwards. Cow pose, nice. 2 more times through your cat and cow. Find the slinky spine, just like we did on the ground in our 2-foot support. So peeling and rolling the spine away 1 vertebra at a time. Lovely. Whenever you finish, float back to your neutral spine, tucking the toes under, walking the hands a little bit further forward as we find a nice big circle, one direction, and circle in the opposite direction. One more time each way. Really get the hips, side body, shoulders, arms, feet involved. Nice. And coming to sit back, but walking the knees a little bit further back as we lift the hips high and send the heart down towards the ground in our puppy posture or Anahata Asana, heart to earth pose. Just waking up the back body, the shoulder space, the front body. Breathe here. Release the heart down. Find one more breath. And slowly tucking the toes under. We'll come to sit straight back on the heels, keeping the arms reaching forwards and pressing down through the palms. Or lift the tailbone, lift the hips, rise downward facing dog. Pedal through the heels, start to wake up the back of the legs. Just keeping moving here, bending the knees, nice. Inhaling, exhaling. Can we find even more length through the spine as we bring the thighs towards the stomach space? One breath here. Nice, and then slowly, as slow as we can go, hovering the knees down towards the ground, so shifting the weight forwards, shoulders over the wrists, hovering the knees off. Keep them hovering. Find this connection to your center. One more breath here before sending the knees down. Nice. Breathing in. Breathing out, lifting the knees, hovering just slightly. Keeping the neck and the spine long, gaze down. Notice where your attention is here. And then send the knees down. Gorgeous. One more time. Inhaling. Exhaling to lift. Keep pressing through the palms to lift out of the shoulder space. Finding one more breath here. And then coming down to the knees, just come to sit back and shake out the wrists. Oh, yeah. Circle through the hands, spread the fingers. Maybe we give ourselves a little bit of self-massage just to release any tightness or tension. Imagine our hands are like headlights as we flash them on and off. Gorgeous. And then jumping back, hands to the ground, walking the knees a little bit further back as the weight rocks forward, shoulders over the wrists, low plank. Sending the elbows behind us. Keep the weight forwards as we come all the way down to the ground. Feet wide on the mat. Forearms to the earth. Elbows underneath the shoulders. Pressing down to rise up. Lift the heart forward. Sphinx pose. Keeping the head and neck an extension of the spine. So if we're collapsing down or crunching back, can we find this lovely length in the back of the neck? Perhaps we press down a little bit more through the forearms. Taking a breath in and a breath out. The left shoulder comes towards the center. We gaze past our right. And right shoulder to the center, gazing past the left. Nice, floating all the way back into your Sphinx. Then tucking the toes under. And keep this connection through the forearms as we connect to our center. And start to lift the stomach and pelvis away from the ground. And then straighten one leg, straighten the other leg. Lifting into a forearm plank. Whoa. Take a nice breath in. And breath out. And then send the hips high, walk the feet forwards. Come to a dolphin pose, so like a down dog but on the forearms. Strengthening through the shoulder space. Take a breath in and out, making your way to downward facing dog, either one arm at a time or lifting up, turbo dog. Inhaling, exhaling, walking the feet forwards or stepping them into a fold. Feet hips distance apart, inhaling to lift up halfway, finding a nice long flat back. Exhaling to fold, rooting down to rise up to standing, reach for the sky. And palms float together together, down at the heart, we send the sitting bones behind us. Imagine we're sitting in a chair. Keeping the spine nice and long. Start to wake up the glutes and the lower body. Option to stay here or rock off the heels onto the toes. Sit back a little lower. Nice. Where is your attention? Notice the pelvis space. And everybody releasing down to the ground. Forward fold, head, neck and arms hang. Planting the palms, stepping both feet back, downward facing dog. And then as slow as you can go, knees down to the ground, hovering off the earth just before they get there. And everybody meeting in tabletop, gorgeous. Floating the right leg back behind us and stepping it all the way forwards, nice and wide, right toes turn out. And just rocking here, forwards, back, left to right, in circles, whatever feels good. Easing into this right hip, send some love. And then maybe we come all the way back, easing into the calf and the hamstring. And just really moving whatever way feels great here. And then coming all the way back to center, right toes face forwards now. We find our nice parallel lines, train track with our legs as we lift the heart, lift the chest and reach for the sky with the arms. Option to stay here on our low lunge or tuck the toes under. Make sure we've got this lovely wide stance as we rise up, high lunge. Wherever we are, totally choose your own adventure here. But find cactus arms with the elbows soft. Taking a breath in and out. And then send the heart space towards the sky even more. Lift your gaze back. Really slight back bend here. And floating forwards. Plant the palms. Step back into your downward facing dog. Nice. Slowly float the knees down. Come to meet in your tabletop. Stepping the left leg forwards, turning the left toes out as we just rock around. There's really no right or wrong to this, as long as we're moving in a way to open up some of the deep tissue and release lots of this tight, tense space that we might have around this area. Lovely, floating the left leg forwards, toes track forwards, either staying on the back knee as we rise into our lunge or tucking the back toes under, wide stance, lifting into high lunge. Everybody in cactus arms, breathing in and out. And then lifting the heart, lifting the gaze, find space in the front body. Nice, release the shoulders away from the ears. And floating all the way back, plant the palms. Step into your downward facing dog, lifting the hips and then walking, stepping or hopping the feet forwards into a fold. Inhaling to lift up halfway, your flat back. Exhale, release. Plant the palms, step both feet back. This time coming to a high plank or low plank. So palms are on the earth, wrists over the shoulders, knees down or lifted. Everybody float the elbows back and keep the hands by the rib cage as we lift the heart forwards. Rise into a baby cobra. Just easing into the back body, sending the shoulders away and releasing. Pressing all the way back up into a downward facing dog. We'll meet you there. Take your time to arrive there. And when you do, lifting the left leg off the earth behind you. It doesn't have to be a really big lift, keeping the pelvis level as we breathe in. And then breathing out, bending the left knee. Reaching it forwards and stepping up. Taking the right leg a little bit wider. And everybody rooting down to rise into a high lunge. So the back knee's off the ground. into these cactus arms for one breath. And then pivoting the back foot to the ground as we spiral the back thigh forwards. And keep the arms reaching, finding warrior one. Front knee bends over the front ankle. Really root down through the back leg. Cactus arms. Lifting the heart, lifting the gaze for one breath. And then coming all the way back. Interlacing the hands behind the back body as we send the knuckles down and away. Keep finding length as we reach forwards. And bring the crown of the head down towards the ground. Remember, it doesn't need to touch here. Can we stay rooted into our anchor and our back foot? Breathing in, breathing out, slowly rising. Press into the feet to lift off and release the arms, taking them nice and wide. Right arm crossing over the left. Backs of the hands or palms towards each other. As we lift the elbows, we'll soften the shoulders, finding our eagle arms. Remember, the hands don't need to touch. It's just the intention of bringing them towards each other. So keep nice length in the spine. Notice where you feel your breath here. Really make the most of your breath in this posture and all the postures. And then releasing, planting the palms as we step back into our plank pose. Knees lifted or lowered, elbows float back down to the ground. Palms plant, lifting the heart forwards, cobra. Maybe we lift a little higher this time. Listen to where there's space. Releasing, making your way into downward facing dog. In down dog, reach the right leg off the earth. Then bending the right knee, hovering it forwards and stepping up. Taking the left foot wider as we rise, high lunge. Reaching the arms. Can we find even more space through the spine? Gorgeous. One breath here. And then pivoting the back foot to the ground. Keep rising as we find cactus arms. Inhaling, lift the heart, lift the gaze. Exhaling, release. Send the hands behind, interlace down and away. Really feel this internal rotation in the back thigh as we keep reaching and folding, hinging from the hips, humble warrior. Connect to your anchor in the back leg. And rising, nice. Breathing as the head goes below the heart. Reaching the arms and then crossing the left over the right. Backs of the hands or palms towards each other. Everybody meeting an eagle, your version. Elbows lifted, shoulders soft. Breathe where you are. One more breath. Before releasing and planting the palms either side of the front foot. Stepping back into your plank pose. Sending the elbows behind us and make your way into cobra. Take your time, root down, rise up. Maybe lift a little higher now and softening. Making your way to downward facing dog. And when you arrive in down dog, walk, step or hop the feet forwards into your fold. Inhale to lift up halfway, your flat back. Keep the neck nice and long and then releasing, rooting down to rise up halfway. Come to sit back with the sitting bones in your chair pose, Utkatasana. This time reach the arms forwards and towards the sky. Take the hands onto the shoulder space as we roll the elbows forwards, round and back, and then back, round and forwards. Nice. Reaching towards the sky. One more breath, option to lift onto the toes. And folding. Gorgeous, everyone. Plant the palms, step both feet back, downward facing dog. And then rolling our weight forwards into our high plank. Curl through the spine as we bring the shoulders over the wrists. Inhaling, exhaling, lower down to the ground. Planting the palms by the ribs, lifting up cobra. And coming down to the ground, staying there. Bringing the one hand on top of the other and just resting the forehead onto the palms if this feels good. Or if it's more comfortable one side to the other, then do so. And just wiggle the hips and just release any tension here. Keep the elbows nice and soft. Lovely. And if you turn the neck to one side, make sure you come to the other side if that feels comfortable. And whenever we're ready, we'll meet back, gazing forward, sending the arms behind us and keeping them hovering off the earth. Using all of the space that we worked into today to help us here as we lift our heart forwards. Keeping our neck long. First option is here with the toes on the ground and the feet rooting. And our bottom is alive, but be careful it's not like a big, hard, heavy walnut. Lovely, we might like to stay here. Or if we have lots of space today, interlace the hands, reach the knuckles away, but be mindful this might be for today or another day entirely, maybe never. So breathe where you are, listen to the space. And you might like to find a couple of breaths lifting the legs off the earth. Wherever you are, finding an inhale and an exhale and releasing. Hands on top of the other and just wiggle the hips. You might like to lift the feet and just find prone windscreen wipers. Nice, and coming all the way back, feet on the ground. We have a few options here. We can come to any of the bus stops that we just explored. So reaching the arms back, hands hovering, lifting our heart forwards, nice long neck. Maybe we stay here, or option to take the right hand to the right ankle. And perhaps staying here, coming to the other side, trying that out one by one. Or perhaps we bring both hands to both ankles, lift the heart a little further forward, a little higher, and come to find our upward bow. There's so much going on here, so keep finding this extension through the spine and lengthening. And it's okay to rock slightly when you breathe. Wherever we are exploring this space, we'll find 3 more breaths. And on your final exhale, release everything down to the ground. One hand on top of the other, and release. Take a lovely breath in and out, and just feel the space of the lungs and the rib cage expanding with your breath and softening. And if you turned your head to one side, turn it to the other side. Remember, if it feels good to wiggle the hips, then do so. Maybe we'll find those prone windscreen wipers. Coming back to center, sliding the hands. Imagine they're like a paintbrush painting the mat, coming back to the rib cage, and then lifting up and coming to sit the hips on the heels, child's pose. And if you're quite tender in your lower back, you might like to bring the knees a little closer together. Maybe wide apart feels great. The arms can be forwards or back. Really make this balasana work for you as you are right now. Nice. Finding one more breath here. And lifting, walking the hands forwards, tucking the toes under as we sit on the heels. Mindfully lifting into one final downward facing dog. Keep it nice and easy and gentle, and just keep moving here if that feels good. Maybe you roll slightly forwards, come into that angry cat, and then back. And just rock here, shifting the weight. Really listen to what feels good. Perhaps you come to a twist. The left hand can come off and reach away to the right side of the mat. And then releasing, right hand comes off, left hand comes over. Nice. And wherever you are, we'll meet with the knees on the ground. Scooting the legs to one side as we come through to a seat. Feet firmly planted, arms reaching forwards or using the elbows to support you as we slowly float down. Taking it nice and steady as we approach our resting postures, cooling down. Allow the hands to rest, feet nice and wide, rolling the right thigh out and the left thigh in, windscreen wipering. And maybe we come from side to side, or perhaps we stay here for a while longer, bringing the bottom ankle on top of the top thigh. Peek at me if you need to, that sounds very confusing. And this might not feel great for you, so really just take what you need and leave what you don't. Everybody's just finishing with one fluid left to right with our windscreen wipers before meeting in the center and hugging everything. And take your time if you're not there. Curling the forehead towards the knee in your own time. Releasing the head back down, rocking from side to side. Releasing the feet, again taking them as wide as the mat and allowing the thighs to internally rotate, so just like they did in our warrior one, knees come towards each other to the center. Take a breath here. And then heel toe the feet close together. Bring the palms, bring the soles of the feet together as we open the knees out wide. And just flowing between these two movements. So moving slowly, heel toeing the feet out, knees come together. And then heel toeing the feet back together, knees nice and wide. One more time, just keeping this soft. Closing the eyes if you would like to here. Whenever you finished, coming to meet in our final and most precious resting posture, Shavasana. The legs can be long. We can stay if we want with the knees bent, feet wide. And you can rest the hands wherever you like. Perhaps the left hand comes to the heart and the right hand might like to come on top if that feels comfortable. But wherever you are, wherever the hands lie, just bring your attention to the space around the heart. Checking in with how you feel as we let the breath come and go. What do you notice here within yourself? Physically, emotionally, mentally, energetically, every single way, what do you notice? Maybe you don't notice anything, and that's okay. Maybe you notice a slight tingling or a warmth. Perhaps you feel your heart beating quite quickly. Maybe you can feel your tummy growling. Just whatever you feel, let it be. Wiggling the fingers and toes, rolling through the wrists and the ankles, taking any movement you need here, and rolling over to your right side, using the palms to lightly lift you into a comfortable seat. Take your time, keeping the gaze nice and soft. And whenever you arrive in your seat, bringing the palms together at the heart, finding the sequence that we did at the very start of our practice, sending the fingertips down to the ground, keeping it soft, reaching the arms wide and all the way towards the sky. And palms come back together. We trace the thumbs down the third eye point of the forehead, down to the mouth, and down to the heart, giving thanks for this moment and for our practice. Thank you so much for joining me today. From my heart to each and every single one of yours, Namaste.